a shot.
Oh my goodness. We are halfway through the season, and Brandon, D. Adam, hopefully back on Twitter with Elon Musk. The fantasy gods have not been kind so far this year. It's rough. These types of shows, as much as it's good for the people that were out there recording, trying to figure out these flex plays every single week, I'm trying to figure out my damn flex plays in my leagues every single week. So it just makes these shows so much more important. So thanks for joining us, DFS Army community. We appreciate you tuning in. Of course, we're here to talk about the Week 8 fantasy football slate in terms of flex plays for your season-long league. And let's just get a little administration out of the way, Brandon. We have a couple teams on bye this week, and they're both very fantasy relevant teams. Of course, the Kansas City Chiefs are on bye, and those Los Angeles Chargers are on bye. So that's kind of a good thing. Last week was bye Mageddon. I don't know about you, Brandon, but I was challenged in some of my deeper dynasty leagues to actually start a reasonable roster of players.
Yeah.
But this week's also interesting because we've got some pretty big names that are going to be missing time. Deebo Samuel's going to be out. We know DK Metcalf's going to be missing extended amount of time. Ezekiel Elliott has been ruled out for the game. James Conner, Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, Corey Davis, Chuba Hubbard. There's a lot of fantasy starters right now that are not going to be playing. So as a whole, Brandon, we're halfway through the season. Does it feel like that there's been more injuries this season than past years, or is it just because we're in the heat of battle and it always feels like it every single year?
It's just taking rounds the same as every year. I think there's always that time of the year where it's just like a flood of injuries happen. And I mean, it's right on cue. Week 8, like it's dead middle of the season, so I can see it right now. I mean, it could stack up honestly in the next month. It could stack up, but once those, I think the hardened teams and players will show in the next couple weeks where the healthy teams will just rise.
Yeah, man. Like it's tough right now. It's tough right now, but that's why we're here. So let's not bury the lead, as they say. Give me your locked and loaded flex play for Week 8 that you're gonna Brandon's Adams personal guarantee. We got.
I got Devontae Smith. The last time I was this confident about Devontae Smith, I didn't say anything, and that was in Week 3 when he erupted for a monster game for 169 yards and a touchdown. And he has a sick matchup this week against Witherspoon from Pittsburgh, and it's just Pittsburgh has been atrocious against the wide receiver position. They're second worst in the league against the position. Devontae Smith is getting a hell of a target share in his offense, and he's being treated as almost a one. He has a 24% target share. That's 20th in the league. I think it's time for this. They've had 2 weeks to prepare. I just feel like they're going to identify this matchup and just attack it. I honestly think A.J. Brown and both Devontae Smith have monster games, but I think Devontae Smith could have that kind of game where it's going to be like, 30 points, like type of eruption. So definitely start Devontae Smith because he has everything going his way for the matchup.
Well, and here's the thing, right? We were worried when A.J. Brown was traded to Philly that they just wouldn't pass the ball enough to make Devonta Smith relevant. But to your point, I mean, A.J. Brown is rocking that just absolutely disgusting 30% target share, which we'd love to see. But to your point, Devonta Smith, 24% on the season. And it's been pretty consistent every single week. Like he's getting the targets every single week. So it's this consolidated target share. And it's really, it's Devonta Smith, it's A.J. Brown, and then it's Dallas Goedert, who's averaging close to 20%. So it's those three guys in that offense. And, of course, Jones can run the ball. So, yeah, I mean, in these lower – it's kind of what we hoped with Rashad Bateman. You and I were commiserating about Rashad Bateman before the show started. Just about, like, okay, in these run-first type offenses, are you comfortable rostering any of the skill position players, especially the wide receivers? And sometimes, especially for the wide receiver too, usually the answer is no, we don't want to, right? You're going to go for the top guy only. But we've seen it where Devonta Smith is getting enough action in the passing game to actually be fantasy relevant every single week. This week he goes up against the Steelers, who they ain't your mom and dad's Steelers, ladies and gentlemen.
No,
like they do not
toast.
look good.
They're toast. I think they're going to be pretty bad in the next couple of years, to be honest.
Well, so you brought up an interesting point again. We were kind of chatting before the show here, and it's not one of our flex plays per se, but you were suggesting that maybe Chase Claypool could be showcased, as it were, this week. But what do you think that's my counter to that was I think we're giving the Pittsburgh Steelers offense too much credit to even be able to shadow him. I mean, right now you got Deontay Johnson, who's absolutely demanding like the lion's share at 27% of the targets. George Pickens is around 17%, and Chase Claypool is around 17%. So I mean,
right.
Go ahead.
I just feel like with the buzz that we have at the trade deadline with Chase, with Green Bay, wanting supposedly to get after him to go to Green Bay, but I just feel like if you're gonna try and showcase him, he has a hell of a matchup as well. He has the best matchup of the wide receiver group this week against Avonte Maddox. He's 71st rated cornerback in coverage rating. I think Chase Claypool can really take advantage of that matchup if Kenny Pickett can get the time to do so. I just like the fact that he's operating out of the slot 71% of the time. That's third in the league. That's pretty hefty in the slot. And we like how we love those slot receivers because they have a lot of choice routes in that position. So I think Chase could erupt here, but I've been making parlays for that game, and I have a George Pickens touchdown this week because I just feel like he's going to get a lot of one-on-one opportunities granted against good corners, but I think his talent is telling us that he can play against almost anybody in the league. So he's a possible eruption guy as well. But if the Steelers are smart and if they were able to, and if they really wanted to trade Chase, they're either going to showcase him or they're just not going to play him because they know they're going to trade him, so they don't want him to get hurt. Those are the two scenarios.
Chase Claypool this week is the definition of
opium. Oh, so good.
It's too risky. But no. I mean, on the other side of the ball, start your stud wide receivers in Philly, and another high-scoring game this week. We got, of course, the Detroit Lions playing one of the highest over-unders of the week, going up against Miami. And I like Josh Reynolds in this game, man. DJ Chark, we know he's on IR. Our beautiful, sweet baby boy, DeAndre Swift, is finally back this week, man. It's finally happening.
God. Oh, my God. Thank God.
You have to assume they're going to probably ease him in, right? And look, Josh Reynolds in a 51.5 over-under with 24 implied team points. Josh Reynolds is going to have to be involved in this offense. And the thing is that he is averaging 6 targets per game, but he's also getting those high caloric red zone targets. He ranks 7th in the league with 9 red zone targets on the season, 92% route participation. And he's actually getting a decent ADOT. He's got an ADOT of 13 yards, which is actually ranked 20th in the league. So all the peripherals are there for Josh Reynolds to actually be able to come out and have a fantasy relevant week. Really what it comes down to is, are the Lions going to be able to execute to the point where they can keep up with this Miami offense? Because Tua last week didn't look the sharpest, but we know what they've been able to do. Yeah. So and I think this is
Tyreek Hill came out on Twitter and said he's gonna play better this week. So I think he's gonna get in the box. I think he's gonna go for 130. Or I think he's gonna just have a monster one of those Tyreek Hill weeks. I think this game shoots out in a big way. I love this game. I think it's great. I think if DeAndre Swift plays, that's telling us that he's 100% ready to go. So I don't see them really easing him in. I think he's going to play. If he's going to rock it, history has shown these players that come off of long injuries, and once they play, you just play them because they are finally 100% healthy.
So one thing I wonder, and sometimes we maybe dig a little bit too much into these, peripheral metrics, but the Detroit Lions are 28th in the league in terms of snaps played per game. So they're averaging 55 snaps per game. That's low. You compare that even to Miami. Miami surprisingly is low as well with 60 snaps per game, ranking 21st. So it's two bottom half of the league in terms of plays run per game, and yet we're still projecting this game as one of the highest, if actually not the highest, over under on the week.
Explosive plays. I wonder if there's a metric to measure explosive plays for teams. That's something I'd be interested. That would be something I'm interested to see. But I guarantee you, both of those offenses are up there in the league for explosive plays, and that's probably it's because they finish from a long distance. Like they have long touchdowns.
They don't see. That's actually a sharp observation. It's not so much that they don't need to run as many plays because they've got the explosive plays, so they can be more effective. They're just more efficient. That's why we have you on the show, Brandon. Very acute observation. And another reason why we have you on the show is because you've got a second flex play that you want people to know about.
Yes. This is my guy. Brandon Ayukin is going to kill it. I think this is his week. I think Debo being down is going to get this kid a volume funnel. He's last 2 weeks had 11 targets per game. I think this guy is about to have himself at least 11 targets per game this week. I could see it pushing up towards 15 if this game gets going. I just feel with the addition of Christian McCaffrey, it's going to actually free up Ayuk in a way because a lot of those safeties are going to gamble. Linebackers are going to gamble on CMC. They're going to be more interested in stopping CMC versus Ayuk, which is probably going to give him some nice matchups one-on-one with guess who? Jalen Ramsey. I think Jalen Ramsey has been garbage this year, and let's just attack that position because he is struggling. I think he's struggling as a number one corner this year, and it's just. I feel Ayuk is going to have the volume to overcome anything this week that could go negative against him.
Yeah,
no Debo.
Brandon Ayuk is still also averaging 23% target share. So with no Debo, he's probably going to be up north of 30%.
30. 30. Easy.
Yeah, and in PPR leagues, they're allowing the 21st most fantasy points. This San Francisco or the Rams defense. The Rams defense, they don't
not good.
No, it looks like Father Time is starting to catch up to them. What could have possibly gone wrong when they bring in like an Allen Robinson type player to be the savior of the league? On the team, it's just not.
It's going downhill quick for them, and I think they're going to crash hard when it happens. I actually think for the next 5 years, the Seattle Seahawks, the Arizona Cardinals, and the Niners are way more positioned for the future than them.
Here's the thing, though, okay? And this is what I think people tend to forget, is that everybody's like, well, what's wrong with Matthew Stafford? Did the Detroit Lions actually win that trade? No. The Rams won a Super Bowl last year.
Exactly. They won
that trade. Yep. So don't be stupid. Don't be naive about this stuff, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
And then we're so quick to forget the fact that for pretty much the entire offseason, Matthew Stafford wasn't throwing the effing ball. He was hurt. His shoulder was hurt the entire offseason. And then they were managing his throws through training camp, and then finally they ramped him up. Are we seriously going to assume that all of a sudden out of nowhere, Matt Stafford is healthy, he's throwing the ball no problem, that's not affecting his game at all? I think we forget these things just because we're not talking about it every single week.
Yeah.
And just because the team is saying, no, it's a manageable thing, it doesn't mean that the guy's not playing hurt. I understand it. We're in week 8. Everybody in NFL is playing hurt. But Matthew Stafford's probably, this is just Shane speculating, he's been playing hurt the entire time. So there's
you can see it
looks so bad.
You can see it
right now. You can see it, and there's dysfunction in that locker room right now. Clearly, right? Just this whole Cam Akers drama. If they were clicking, if they were humming, and the team was winning, I guarantee you there would have been no drama.
Yeah.
But you're telling me Darrell Henderson is a more complete back than Cam Akers? Why is Cam Akers? Why was he not getting starting time? And again, he's going to miss this week, so it's going to be the Darrell Henderson show in a tough matchup against San Francisco. But these are the types of things that just infuriate me. There's dysfunction in the team right now for whatever reason. It's that Super Bowl hangover, man. But I think that's interesting. We got a question from our guy Bali. He's asking, Chase Claypool, the aforementioned, Drake London, who they refuse to throw the ball to, or Curtis Samuel. What do you think about this one? This one's kind of
Who's
interesting.
Curtis? Who's Washington playing? I forgot.
Washington is going up against those Indianapolis Colts.
Okay, so he's gonna.
It's a rough matchup. Offense. Well, surprisingly, no. I mean,
he can move around. That's the cool thing about him.
It is, but Indianapolis is actually the second best defense against the pass right now.
Okay,
so it's a buzzsaw,
dude. I'm never gonna sit Drake London. He's a lock and play for me no matter what. To be honest, for me, but Claypool. Let me just tell you, Claypool can erupt with this matchup. So, but I'm gonna say London, volume over everything, talent over Claypool. Let's just hope and pray they actually throw it to him a little bit.
Okay, so Drake London last week, 1 target.
Oh my God!
Against San Francisco, 4 targets. Before that, he was averaging between 6 or 7 targets a game. We're a long ass way from week 2 where he received 12 targets in a game.
What the hell is going on?
It's dysfunction. I'm telling you, this isn't me, but dysfunctional teams do dysfunctional things, and they gotta throw the damn ball. Claypool.
I'm feeling it. Claypool. Let's do it then. Let's let that showed me. Let's do it. Yeah, Claypool. Let's try it.
It sounds dirty. It sounds nasty, but Chase Claypool.
I think he has a matchup, dude.
He's got the best matchup this week, and
he really does.
I love it. Curtis Samuel, same deal. Let's look at Curtis Samuel's usage recently, because it feels like he hasn't been getting the same usage either. And of course, he's got Taylor Heineke giving him the ball, but I don't know, man. Curtis Samuel had 8 targets last week, 5 against Chicago the week before, 8 the week before that. Curtis Samuel's got a pretty solid floor. Other than Chicago,
I'm telling you, they're going to showcase Chase Claypool to get that second rounder they want from Green Bay, because they're going to make Green Bay just pine over this guy if he erupts. So I feel like they're going to try and showcase him a little bit for trade bait.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The more I'm
that's what I would do as a GM. I would try and showcase him a little bit.
It's close for me. I mean, look, in a vacuum, if Drake London was getting the targets, it'd be Drake London.
Yep.
I'm gonna leave Curtis Samuel in this one. I think that's my final.
Wow.
I'm gonna go Curtis Samuel in this one.
Split. I'm going Claypool. Yeah, let's go.
We're splitting this volley. All right, brother. Let's move on. I have a few more flex plays that I want to talk about. And listen, he's an oldie, but he's a goodie. Adam Thielen.
Oh, yes.
Sort of Viking, baby, going up against the Arizona Cardinals. Another high over-under game is 49-point over-under, and the Vikings have an implied team total of 26 points. Again, as much as you think that Adam Thielen's been a disappointment this year, Brandon, he's actually still averaging 7 targets per game, and he's got a 97% route participation. He's similar to Josh Reynolds. He's tied for 7th with 9 red zone targets, and he's at a 19% target share, which, again, we don't love it. We want closer to 20, 25%, but 19%, it's because he's playing with Justin Jefferson. So I understand that Justin Jefferson is the guy, but going up against Arizona, oh, man, last week he had a 28% target share, which I love to see. Irv Smith's actually a sneaky player that I like in this game. If you need to flex the tight end,
100%.
Yeah. They're third. Yep. The Arizona Cardinals are 3rd worst against the tight end position, and Irv Smith is actually decent at catching touchdowns. But not to take away from Adam Thielen, I think Adam Thielen is set up to where if you're looking for a flex play as a wide receiver 3, or I still think he's going to be a touchdown threat. Last year and in previous seasons, he was just an absolute dog in the end zone, and he was catching all those damn touchdowns. So he was getting 4, 5, 6 targets a week, but he was getting a touchdown every single week, which saved your week. I think there's a good opportunity for him to get in the end zone again this week. And just based on the fact that Minnesota Vikings are actually favored on the road going up against Arizona this week, that's interesting to me. I mean, the Vikings are, dare we say, legitimate. Like, their team reflects their record. There's certain teams out there that you kind of scratch your head, like, are the Giants really this good? Is it sustainable for the entire season? What happens if they make it to the playoffs? Is it a buzzsaw? Can they compete? The Giants, I would argue maybe not, because they just don't have a complete team. Whereas the Minnesota Vikings on both sides of the ball are a pretty complete team. And Adam Thielen's a big part of that. So as long as the man can continue to stay healthy, which so far, knock on wood, he has been healthy. I like Adam Thielen this week in an interesting matchup against Arizona. What do you think about that?
I love that. I mean, throughout the week, I start saying, we kind of talk about guys that we like for the week, and we were both on Adam Thielen, so that I like that a lot. So I'm all in for that. I think you're right. I think the Irv Smith call too is a clutch one if you're struggling at tight end. I think that one's a good one. I think he will end up in the box this week. I think he's going to vulture, one of those play actions, inside the 5, or on the 2, like something close like that, and they'll play action to him somewhere in the corner.
I've got a few tight end streamers that will make mention of at the end of the week, but yeah, I mean, look, Adam Thielen, he's not a sexy type player, but we were just talking about it again. I have my starts of questions. You always want to get validation on that, and my question was in my flex play, am I starting Darrell Henderson in a 0.5 PPR, or am I starting Adam Thielen? And going up against San Francisco, it's going to be really tough for Darrell Henderson to produce. He's going to need to get in the end zone, and I don't know if he will be able to. So I'm going to lead Adam Thielen in that case. So I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and I'm starting Adam Thielen in my flex this week in an important matchup, because right now, Brandon, I don't know if you just look at your leagues, how many teams are 4-3 or 3-4 in your leagues, and really it's just a point differential. Like, the margins are still so tight, because as much as it's that fucking roulette wheel where it's like, all right, is Brees Hall going to get knocked out this week? I just hope it's at the end of the game. I got Mark Andrews going in a game. At least it was 1.5 PPR. I got 7 points out of Mark Andrews, but studs are playing games and are losing games. So it's that roulette wheel. Who's going to be reliable? And the fantasy gods don't pick and choose. It's gonna this week it's gonna be my team. Next week it's gonna be your team that's gonna be dodging the bullets. So you see a lot of parity in these leagues right now, and so these are must-win weeks.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Is gonna help me win this week, I hope. My Lord. All right, bro.
I think you're right. Give me
a third guy. Give me a third guy.
All right, my third guy is going to be Raheem the King Mostert. I think he's going to be a breakout candidate this week against the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions are the worst against the running back position in the league right now. He's in the best position. I think, like I said, 51 points, combined for this game. Again, everything is lining up perfectly for him. I think this is going to be his breakout week. I don't like Chase Edmonds in this week because the Lions are actually better against running backs through the air versus the rush. I feel a 40-yard touchdown from Mostert is coming, and I feel like he could actually erupt in a big, big way. So put him in DFS, put him in everything. I have parlays involving him, and I'm actually very confident in this play. He should smash, and I like this guy when he's healthy. We all know he can play.
Have you watched a lot of the Miami games? Like, have you seen Chase Edmonds?
Sometimes, yeah.
So yeah, I feel like Chase Edmonds looks just as good as Raheem Mostert, except Chase Edmonds can't squeeze the ball in the passing game. Like, he has I think 5 drops on the season. Yeah, it's just been absolutely abysmal. So I get it. And Raheem Mostert, I mean, the biggest criticism about him and why people were so high on Chase Edmonds this season was just the fact that Raheem Mostert hasn't really shown the ability to stay healthy. But in a season where it seems like every bloody running back is getting hurt, Raheem Mostert is humming along, baby. And
he's
Detroit.
Dude, against Detroit, and then listen to his schedule: Detroit, Chicago, Cleveland, bye, Houston. For the next 5 games, he can be a RB1 anytime of those weeks, and he's actually a trade target. We will have a trade cast at some point here, and we'll talk more about Raheem. You should be trading for him.
Raheem the Machine Mostert. Yeah, I think that's a sharp play, man. I really do. And it looks like he's going to be he's going to be high owned in DFS this week, which is always a good sign, right? In terms of your flex plays.
Yeah, he's a stud.
21% ownership in FanDuel that our metrics are projecting.
I think he's good. I think he's gonna end up being good chalk because he's good. Like I honestly feel like with how this game could play out, he could be in the box twice. You know, like he can be, he could have one of those games that changes his slate. To be honest,
I want this one to like. So many of these games with the high over-unders are not hitting. Like you just bet the under and you're going to be pretty successful this season. I just hope this one hits the over-under at least. I want the over amount. Give us something to root for, please, fantasy football.
Yeah,
please.
exactly right.
I beg of you. Okay. Before I get into my next flex play, let's just a little bit of business here, Brandon, because we hail, of course, over at dfsarmy.com, and the bread and butter on that website is DFS fantasy football. Shocking, or actually DFS of all sports. But if you are new at DFS, or if you're a little bit reluctant to just take the dive and you want to try it out, we do have an offer. If you follow it, the link is in the show description below, but it's www.dfsarmy.com/free-offer. Follow the instructions. Part of the instructions is going in and depositing at one of our partner sites. If you're going to be playing DFS, you're going to have to deposit anyways. So you might as well deposit the amount, come back, follow the instructions, and get 1 free month of DFS Army VIP membership and see how, not why, how so many of our VIP members continue to print money. Seriously, twitter.com. I'm sure you heard of it. Follow at DFS Army. We are tweeting out all the helmets that are cashing. And every single week, every single slate, every single contest, we have helmets flashing money. So you want to be one of those people too, Brandon? DFSarmy.com/free-offer. Now, I'm going to talk about my next favorite flex play of the week. And that's Deonta Foreman of the Carolina Panthers.
There we go.
Those Atlanta Falcons. This one kind of seems dirty. But just based on the fact that Chuba Hubbard has been ruled out, and Carolina right now, man, like, can we just? I don't know if you guys can hear that. I'm clapping for PJ Walker. You know why I'm clapping for PJ Walker? Because the one thing we want for the quarterback is to make DJ more fantasy relevant. And guess what? Guess what, Brandon? He was fantasy relevant this last week. Just keep it up, PJ. Come on, keep it up. And you know who else we want to be? We want it to be DJ Moore, and we want it to be Deonta Foreman. Raheem Blackshear should not get in the way of Deonta Foreman, who, look, I get it. He's now a few years removed. Whenever he touches a ball, sometimes it doesn't look the prettiest, but the dude gets freaking yards. He looks good. He looks productive.
Production. Yes.
He gets production. And this week, going up against Atlanta, who, for their part, is they're a somewhat better than average run defense. Okay, fine. Deonta Foreman should be able to put up points, and Deonta Foreman should be able to get into the end zone this week. I like Deonta Foreman a lot.
Yep.
And what I liked about last week was that he had 7 total opportunities. He put up 145 yards, Brandon. 145 yards on his opportunities. Didn't get in the end zone, but he's still extremely productive for fantasy football. To me, it's kind of a no-brainer for Deonta Foreman this week. If you got him, you're starting him. Like, am I oversimplifying this, Brandon?
No, I think it's right on the money. It has to be talked about. The injury to Chuba is big. I actually had a friend ask me about picking up either Chuba or Dante, and I said Dante last week. And now with Chuba down, let's go. Let's ride, Sam. I'll call you out.
Let's ride.
So I think Deonta Foreman does what he's supposed to, just like he did last year. Late last year, he was awesome. He helped so many rosters last year. So I don't understand why there's any hesitancy on Deonta Foreman. I think that's a great play to me.
Well, I think that in general, I mean, on paper, Chuba Hubbard was okay. So who's going to be better? Who's going to get the opportunity share? It was probably going to be a 50-50 opportunity share, but he ain't playing this week. So they're not going to trust Blackshear. I would expect Deonta Foreman is going to get at least minimum 65% of the opportunity share this week. We got Nezzy, or is it Neezy's? Nazy? Yay, nay, Nezzy. We got Tua or Burrow this week. So it's like choosing between two children for Brendan and Adam. But Brendan, who do you like out of these two options this week? Jamar Chase is going to be missing some time, man.
Oh my God, dude! I think Tua could have a monster this week. Honestly, I think this game
It's got to be Tua.
Right? I'm just obsessed with this freaking game. So, yeah, I can't get off of it. I'm Tua this week.
So the one thing I'll say is the Cincinnati Cleveland game is the Monday night game. Does that make any difference being in prime time for Joey B?
Dude, this is like, come on, man. Like, this is. You got hey, either way, you're great. Like, honestly, there's no bad answer here. You're probably going to have a difference of maybe a few 4 or 5 points, like unless Tua goes off for 50 because, Tyreek goes for 150 and 2 tutties, which is possible. I mean, that's very possible with him. He's been calling himself out all week long on Twitter saying he needs to play better, needs to get, so let's man, that's a tough one because I do like T. Higgins matchup. Tyler Boyd is another flex play we were going to go into. I think Burrow's going to be just fine, but I think for this game, I think Tua outscores Burrow this week.
Yeah, so when you look at just the implied team totals on this slate, of course, I need to pull it up here. So you've got a 45 over under 24-point implied team total versus 27 implied team total for the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins are on the road. Actually, they're both on the road, which typically favors the passing game. Man, I am actually leaning. I'm leaning
Burrow.
Tua. I'm leaning Tua because of the matchup. I think going up against the Detroit Lions are going to be fireworks because you look on the backside. Okay, yes, Tua is going to be able to, like the Miami Dolphins are going to be able to put up points. Can the Detroit Lions keep up and can they put up points? Yes. What do you look for in fantasy football? A good offense that has a bad defense. Both of these teams have good offenses, not the best defenses. Okay.
It's going to shoot.
Look at the Cleveland-Cincinnati game. It's still the NFC North. If we want to talk about an over-under for a game, like these NFC North games are always slogfests. Okay.
Yeah. I'm betting the under on that game.
So I would probably bet the under on that game. And it could just be one of those filthy, grinding 21-20 type games. Cincinnati for Cleveland. Like Cleveland's going to want to run the ball. That's how they're going to win the game. So I like Tua just based on the fact that which team is more likely going to have to resort to the run and winning in a ground and pound type game. It's going to be an AFC North game, Cleveland and Cincinnati. Yeah. So I would err on Tua on that one.
Mixon's going to have an uptick in production due to this Chase injury. I see some more opportunities going his way. So they're going to have to get creative. They got to do it. Mixon is the guy. He's a great talent. So unleash him a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm going Tua. I like once you kind of like, you just got to. What are the range of outcomes? And if you talk about the scenarios and you just, close your eyes and picture what's more likely to happen, I just see a grinded type game in Cleveland and Cincinnati because Cleveland's not going to be able to keep up with Cincinnati if it's just going to be a run and gun type game. So it's going to be filthy. It's going to be nasty. I'm going to we got another one from Lincoln. So I haven't read this one. So let's see if we can get through it. A guy offered. Okay. So he was offered Justin Jefferson and Zach Ertz for his Mark Andrews and Christian McCaffrey. It's 1.510 in premium and dynasty. Ooh, okay. I still own Kelce and Greg Dulcich, so it'll have good.
Take JJ.
So you're taking Justin Jefferson over just because he's got Travis Kelce?
Yeah, because he has Travis Kelce. Go JJ.
But he's giving up CMC though.
So what? Okay,
what do you think? I mean, so you're happy to get rid of CMC in Dynasty right now? Okay, in a vacuum, which two players are going to put up more points in a 1.510 in premium league this season? Is going to be Justin Jefferson and Zach Ertz, or Christian McCaffrey and Mark Andrews?
It's going to be JJ and Ertz. Ertz is going to erupt this week, by the way. I think he's going to have a nice week. I like this trade. I think I think that's a fair trade, especially when you got Kelce and Greg Dulcich. I mean that right there tells me do it, man. You're overweighted in assets in tight ends. So may as well get yourself the normal wide receiver dynasty wide receiver. Why not?
The way I see it, though, and then he's got Joe Mixon, Kamara, and Zeke, and we're actually going to do a dynasty-centric show. We were supposed to do it this week. Our schedules just didn't align, so we're going to try to do a dynasty-centric show sometime next week, Lincoln. So, thank you for bringing up this question. Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess what you're looking at is, okay, CMC and Ertz are both kind of getting up there, right? Maybe there's a few more years of fantasy production, whereas JJ and Mark Andrews, they're going to 3 or 4 years at least of probably elite fantasy football production. Joe Mixon's getting up there in age. Alvin Kamara's getting up there in age. Zeke is pretty much washed. So, I mean, you've got a bunch of old running backs. So I like the idea of selling high on CMC, but Brandon is far more inclined to make trades than I am. I'm a little bit more conservative when it comes to fantasy football trades. And I know the value of these top tier tight ends, and especially in these tight end premium leagues, where if you have one of these players, it makes a difference. It makes a massive difference. I'm going to lean holding on to Mark Andrews and CMC and getting the championship this year.
Okay.
It's a completely fair trade. It's completely 50-50.
I wish, hey, Lincoln, are you playing Andrews? Are you stacking both of those guys in your flex? Is that what I'm assuming he's running Andrews every single week in that league. In his flex.
I think he made the trade. Oh, you did make the trade, Lincoln. Okay, so the trade's done. So you're just kind of getting validation on which side you like. It's a perfectly fine trade. It's a perfectly fine trade. Would I have done it? Probably not, but I'm generally more conservative in my trades, which sometimes can burn me, right?
I go hard, bro. So let's go.
Balls to the wall, baby. Brandon's balls to the wall. He wants Justin Jefferson. He wants a stud. You're rocking Travis Kelce. I'm just thinking more so like, can you start? You can start Zach Ertz in your flex any given week. He doesn't get the same target share, obviously, but he's good for touchdowns.
Tight end 3 on the season. Called that from
that's
the
spicy
beginning. I called that from draft.
Is he actually tight end 3 right now?
Yes.
Good Lord. In PPR leagues, it's tight end 3. Fuck yeah. Okay. There you go, baby. All right, let's move on, Brendan. Okay.
Yes,
have you given any of your deep guys? Give me some of your deep guys. Quick.
All right.
Rapid fire.
I got Tyler Algier. I think he's gonna have himself, a nice workload. Cordell Patterson's coming back next week. So I could see them riding Tyler Algier pretty hard this week because they know they got a guy coming in to get activated, Cordell Patterson, on next week's deal. So the matchup is okay, but the last 2 weeks he's been getting 16 touches per game. I think that's a nice number. It could increase with it this week. Against Carolina, you attack Carolina on the ground, not through the air. And I think Tyler Algier can get in the box and give you 16 to 18 touches, and he's a 3-down back, so he's going to get some catches as well. So he's a nice, safe flex, I think, for deeper leagues if you need him.
Yeah, no, I think that's a sharp one. One of my deeper flexes, or just I guess notable flexes, Tony Pollard. If you have him, it's time, right?
It's time, baby. Dude, he's about to smash. If Zeke misses, I hope Zeke sits for 3 weeks. Just get healthy, dude. Like, there's no reason to push it. I don't understand why he would want to push that when he knows he's getting older. Like, you got to start treating yourself different as you get older and you get that wear and tear. Just take a small break, dude. Yeah. Just take a small break. It wasn't a good hit, dude. It wasn't a good hit at all on him. So
Tony Pollard,
Tony Pollard, baby. Go.
You're finding a way to get into his lineup. Elijah Moore, Corey Davis is out.
Yes.
Do we really trust Elijah Moore? I don't know.
I'm putting him in. But I'm putting him in my deeper leagues.
Yeah, sometimes you don't have a choice. He's perfectly reasonable. Chris Olave, locked and loaded, baby. At some point, we're going to stop talking about Chris Olave as a flex, but where you drafted him, he probably is still a flex consideration. But I would say, and I think we agree, right now you're lock and loading him. It's going to be Andy Dalton, which is interesting, right? Even though with Jameis crab legs is healthy, they're like last week was kind of fucked up, right? Like that the 2 picks at the end of the game.
Wow, that was wild.
At the end of the half, just eviscerated that.
End of the half.
Game. Yeah, but I would still trust Chris Olave. Olave's a dog, man. And then James Conner's ruled out, man. So Benjamin, lock him in. Week number 1, He disappointed fantasy managers because he didn't get the end zone, and he just he was getting the touches, but he didn't get the productivity. Last week, he got the touches and he got the productivity. He exploded for I think it was like a 21-point week in PPR leagues or half PPR leagues. This week again, lock up your Benjamin. And Ben, I have just a couple tight end streamers. We already talked about Irv Smith going up against the Jets. Jets ranked 28th versus a position. Irv Smith is finally starting to come on as a third option and a reliable tight end option for Kirk Cousins. So I like that. Juwan Johnson, the Saints going up against Las Vegas. Again, Las Vegas also ranks 27th versus a position. They're just absolutely abysmal. And then this is one where the talent should eventually come to the surface, but Mike Gesicki going up against Detroit. Detroit ranking 24th against the position. We've already talked about this game a lot. It's going to be a high-scoring affair. 2 weeks ago, when Tua was out, was the first week where he got 7 targets in the game, and he got the touchdown. It was fantastic. Last week, with Tua, didn't get in the end zone, didn't put up the box score numbers, but he did also get 7 targets, which was the most targets on the season so far with Tua in the game, Brandon. So Mike Gesicki, if you need to stream a tight end, he's also a very reliable option. Also, somebody if you want to pay down for a little bit in your DFS lineups, I think he's a fair consideration as well. So
I hope you're wrong though, because I have a lot of Waddle and Hill parlays. Hope you're wrong.
I need that listen. I'm over the touchdowns for both those guys.
Brother, if you want to go to Vegas, we need Waddle and Hill to kill it. And Mostert. Not Gesicki.
Yeah, no shit. Hey, listen. Hopefully, there's enough points so that everybody can get their piece. But is there any other players you wanted to talk about before we end it here, Brandon?
I think a nice matchup that it's a low volume guy, but the matchup and he's a high end offense. It's Isaiah McKenzie. He's going up against Eric Stokes and 76 worst coverage rating in the league. He's not very good, obviously. I think they probably had the time to scheme him open. I probably identified this matchup. I just kind of like Isaiah McKenzie this week, and it's just that matchup just screams to me, like he's going to get him in man coverage a few times, and a big play can happen. And we know how he can make big plays.
The fly team total for this game is 29 points. It's fucking crazy, man. Like, it's gonna be. The thing is, though, it's still the NFL, and like the Green Bay Packers look like an absolute dumpster fire right now. Aaron Rodgers, he probably
we called that.
Like,
we called that.
So, like, and we've been talking about this on the show too. Like, for Aaron Rodgers to come and shit talk his rookie wide receivers for not being ready, not being on the field, when Aaron Rodgers is making $50 million a fucking year. Is refusing to better, play in preseason in these optional OTAs. Like we've heard a story now. I'm sure you've heard it where like Peyton Manning would go and literally like drive hours to get reps in with his rookie wide receivers.
Yeah,
that's what it takes to win. And I understand that Aaron Rodgers has all the team or the personal records out there. He's a stud. He was an MVP the last 2 years. But Aaron Rodgers, you need to put the time in with these new people. You can't you have to take some responsibility. So it's frustrating as F. The only thing I worry about is that Buffalo's going to get so high up that they take the wheels off the pedal to the metal. They take it off the gas a little bit. Or Josh Allen is just going to go and say, fuck you, Aaron Rodgers. This is my league now, baby.
This is his league, dude.
Going to put up, Isaiah McKenzie's going to go 5 for 75 and get in the touchdown, get in the box.
I think I can see it, man. But I before we leave, I just want to say, the Flex Network fantasy football league that we created, we got the Battle of the Titans with Trash Man Matt. This is a big week. I know you don't got Mahomes, so I'll see you in the playoffs. Hopefully, we'll see. Shots fired. It's the first and second seed. Moa's first, of course, but it's just how it is.
How it is. All right. Okay. Shots fired. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Of course, dfsarmy.com/free-offer. Learn how to VIP, baby. Or learn how to DFS as a VIP at fantasy or at dfsarmy.com. Thank you for tuning in. Good luck in week 8. So for Brandon, I'm Flex Shane, and we are the DFS Army Fantasy Football show. Oh.